Nigeria spends $600 million on fuel importation monthly. Now, that's according to a Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. He stated that the high import bill is due to neighboring countries up to Central Africa benefiting from the country's fuel imports. Edun explained that the situation was the reason President Bola Tinubu removed fuel subsidy, as the country does not know the exact amount of fuel consumed internally. Right, oil and gas expert Olabode Sowunmi joins us now to get his thoughts and reactions to this, what some might say, mind-blowing revelation coming from the Minister of Finance. $600 million monthly on fuel imports. Is that why we are where we are, with all the pressure on the naira, while the naira continues to lose ground?
Okay, I think definitely it's a fact to say some of the reasons for the pressure on the naira, but to say whether that's where we are is a completely different kettle of fish, because it's multifactorial.
Right.
Now, for my understanding, I think that figure needs to be interrogated even further to get more details. Whether is it because are those figures related to subsidy, or are they just purchase of finished products? Because if they are subsidizing, it's a different kettle of fish. If it's just purchase of finished products, it just speaks about the volume. Now, with respect to the neighboring countries that we technically subsidize, there's not much we can do about that, because it's something that all major OPEC nations experience. In Venezuela, the neighboring countries around them also benefit from the oil that takes place there. Now, for the Middle East, most of the countries have oil, so that is not really a major factor. But for nations which tend to have any product in abundant supply, it is normal that those who surround them take advantage of it. I mean, even in Canada, those who live in Vancouver and Co. sometimes go into Washington to go and purchase things in the supermarket because it's cheaper there. So those are just natural things. So rather than us focusing on what is outside our circle of influence, let's focus on what we can do. What are the fundamentals of the things that we can do to ensure that there's a balance in the economy?
Right. Speaking of which, because you spoke about the $600 million, which you're not too sure. You said we need to interrogate that. But as we try to do that, some of the key questions will be some kind of strategies that can be implemented to reduce the cost and volume of fuel imported in Nigeria. Isn't that something that experts like yourself and even the government should be thinking of, so that such figures don't crop up again?
Okay, so there are certain things that you really cannot mitigate in terms of volumes. What you can do is to ensure efficiency. An example is water. How much water are you going to reduce? Oil, petrol, diesel are related. They are like that, because anywhere in the world where you are, you probably woke up in the morning and entered some kind of vehicle that took you to a destination that required energy. And 97% of that is powered by petrol, it's powered by fossil fuel. So basically saying that you are trying to reduce that exercise in futility. But rather than, because people need to buy fuel in their cars. I mean, they're not going to change and start riding horses. They are not going to stop buying cars. I mean, the new graduates that left the university yesterday are going to buy new cars. They're going to buy. So there are certain things that are related to life and what you call developed.
But aren't there more cost-effective, means to go about this?
Like what?
That's why you're here. You're the expert. So I'm asking.
That's what I'm
asking. So it's not me. It's not me to answer.
Like fixing
that's
the
why you came.
Fixing the refineries, for example. We've said that till we're blue in the face. In 2021 alone, $1.5 billion was actually approved for the turnaround maintenance of the refinery. Now imagine if that refinery, that's a Port Harcourt refinery, if it was working, just that one refinery, wouldn't we be saving this $600 million on a monthly basis?
Refineries are working, then they don't meet our needs, because there were points a few months, during the Obasanjo administration that they actually worked, and they were producing. You know, so
but if they were working, working,
yes,
would we be spending up to 600 million?
No, of course we will not be. No, of course we will not be spending up to that.
So, in other words, there are more cost-effective ways to go about this.
So, the first thing is that you see, the devil is in the details. Refining is a global practice, just like crude oil is a commodity. So when you say commodities, that you're talking about gold or cocoa and all that, there are certain things that are universal to commodities. Fungibility is one, cost unique. In other words, the products are similar. So refining as a process has similar costs all over the world. The key issue that has not been properly discussed in all the debate and all that is what will be the cost of refining locally. And why is that important? Take, for example, crude oil production, drilling. Typically all over the world, it comes to like $7 per barrel. But in Nigeria, drilling comes to about 20-something or 30-something dollars per barrel. And there are factors to it. One of it is security. The other is infrastructure and all that. So in as much as, I mean, I don't like to get into the politics of it because it's not really my job. I'm not a politician. I only do technical things. Is that in as much as we want to look at all the ramifications, it is proper that we also get the details into it. Otherwise, we move from one complicated situation to another.
To another. Well, you know, your attitude towards this, it's like, look, big deal. It's not such a big deal. What the finance minister has come up with, you know, with this revelation. But he's saying, because of this, what you might, you know, describe as, I mean, way off expenses on a monthly basis, that's why President Tinubu has had to remove subsidy. Because, look, we've been subsidizing the neighboring countries. But you are saying, look, it's not such a big deal. It's happening elsewhere. So what should we be concerned about?
So what I'm saying is that...
Because it looks like you're saying it's nothing to worry about.
So what I'm saying is that even if they close the borders,
right,
which will ultimately have negative effect on us, they still will be subsidizing because it will not just go underground, it will become smuggling. So it's basically saying this. How do you stop somebody... Okay, so a gentleman in a community is the only one that has pipe-borne water. But that pipe passes through the whole of the community to get into his house. And he wants to be the only one enjoying pipe-borne water. There are some things that when you talk about the psychology of man, human interactions, you know, there are some things that there's no need going into it. You get my point. Yeah. And the core of my point is not that it's not a big deal that we're expending that kind of money that ordinarily should go for our welfare and infrastructure development and all that. It is the fact that we are trying to propose solutions to problems we have not completely gotten to the root of.
And that is why we're
here. So it is assuming, we always assume that the problems are basically simple, red and white, black and white problems. They are not. It's like raising a child. Who has a formula for raising a child? No, it takes learning moments by learning moments, watching the person to get to the solution.
I think if we keep bringing that analogy, we will never get out of this mess. A moment ago you said the devil is in the detail, and I said to myself, yes, you can dine with the devil, but try not to be devilish about it. So now what we're dealing with at the moment in Nigeria is saying that subsidy is gone. And on the other hand, we've seen some huge figures being bandied about as figures spent to import fuel. And I'm saying, as experts, since NNPC wouldn't give Nigerians some breakdown of how these are done.
Yeah, but that's your responsibility.
That's the responsibility starts with what we're doing at the moment. Right, that's why we're here. So, and I'm saying that because NNPC hasn't been speaking apart from press releases. So what do you think, in your own expertise opinion, that can help reduce this? We still haven't spoken to the figure. What should Nigeria do to get a reduction to this?
Okay, so we want to get a reduction to this. To what amount are we reducing it to?
The realistic amount that reflects that reflects what Nigerians actually consume on a daily basis.
Good. So the reason why I asked that, because you see, when you say realistic amount, it's still vague. The reason why I asked that is because we have not actually been able in a verifiable manner to determine what that realistic amount is. Because if you ask, what is our daily consumption figure? It depends on who you ask.
Yeah, at some point it was 35 million liters daily.
Yes.
And then it jumped to 60 something.
Now, so like I said, it depends on who you ask.
There you go.
So, in the absence of verifiable data, you cannot do planning.
Okay, so what you're saying in essence is there's a lot of opaqueness.
There is opaqueness because we have not properly analyzed the problem. And that is what the beginning of what I said.
That's
because
a fundamental issue.
Before you can provide a solution, you must analyze the problem. Before a doctor can prescribe medicine, he must know what the ailment is.
I agree with you totally, completely. Olabode Sowunmi, oil and gas expert. Thank you very much for joining us.